welcome back to the Plunder Den. In this week's episode, we're going to be building part 2 of that Pirates of the Caribbean inspired building. So in our last episode, we left off with not constructing the roof. So we got most of the building built. We just needed to put a roof on it, and I wanted to add a little accessories. I decided to add a sign to it. So as a coffin maker, they would be a carpenter. So I kind of did a little research and looked for some potential signs that I could put up indicating that it was a carpenter's shop. I came across a few different examples. I went all the way back to medieval history, all the way to 17th, 18th century, and I kind of settled on this image of it was a heart with a bunch of nails through it, and I thought it was really, really cool. This would be perfect for my pirate terrain. It's a carpenter symbol, so, again, this terrain is generic and can be used for anything. But I really thought that was a really appropriate one. So I imagine the heart represents building things with heart, I guess, with some nails through it. So, anyways, I thought it was pretty cool. So let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at the finished product. So I'll just bring that up here, and we'll take a look at everything that's done. So now we got the roof on. There's that sign, so we'll get a closer look at it. See, it's a heart with a bunch of nails through it. So that's really cool. I really like that. So there's the roof. Now I'm really happy how this turned out. It just slides nice, and taking the extra time to measure everything really well makes a huge difference when you get to a stage like this. I was able to just trace the top out and able to easily make this top. So that's that part we're going to be building in this episode as well. So that'll kind of finish off this entire project. So the other projects that I kind of want to do in the future, this is kind of a precursor to I want to build another tavern. I kind of mentioned that I built the Boar's Head Inn, and I kind of really built that tavern prior to me doing a YouTube channel, and it really is not a playable terrain where you could play through it. So a lot of the early terrain that I constructed was just a building that you could walk around, and you only have to decorate the outside of it, right? But I really wanted to make more terrain like this piece here that's completely playable, so the game can carry on through the buildings, and it just adds a whole other element to the game. So I definitely wanted to build a tavern, and what pirate port wouldn't have a tavern, right? So an inn of some sort. So definitely that's a project that's coming in the future. I know I got a few things coming up. Obviously, Raise the Black is going to be here soon, and I definitely want to do some episodes around that. And this is kind of why I'm building this terrain. It's going to be all kind of one long continuous thing that we're doing here. And then also it's the year ending, so it's getting close to Christmas, so there's something maybe I want to do there with kind of, a reflection episode, looking back at all the, kind of like I did last year, kind of looking at all of my favorite projects of 2022. So that's kind of in the future, so I'm looking forward to all that and leading into next year. All right, so that's pretty much it. If you guys like what we're doing here in the Plunder Den, make sure you smash that like button and consider subscribing to the Plunder Den and get first-hand information when I start these kind of projects. All right, everyone, let's get down to the table. Let's start painting and let's start crafting. Okay, we're just going to get right to it and kind of just go where we left off in the last episode. So really what I did was I just flipped that top level upside down on a piece of foam board, traced it out, the outline, and then I just kind of measured the thickness of the walls you could see there, and I kind of trimmed that off all the way around, so it just fit perfectly in here. So I did spend quite a bit of time on here to make sure it would measured out properly. I think everything was going to be a lot harder if I didn't measure that out correctly. So I did spend some time on that. So then I decided to build some trusses out of balsa wood. Now, I didn't glue that to the foam that's there. I just glued it to the actual, the dollar store foam board that we cut out. We're just going to kind of build this as an independent, separate piece. But it's a good way to measure it is just to glue it right next to the foam so it fits perfectly. So then I decided to do some cross beams. You can see I'm starting to do that now. It was a little tricky because these didn't line up. One building side of the building is a little bit shorter than the other, and that's kind of how the design looked in that when I built the building from that Pirates of the Caribbean example, and kind of want to do the same thing. So it's a little different, but didn't slow me down at all. And right here, I'm just kind of sticking the balsa wood, trying to determine exactly. How I want to lay this out, just kind of these trusses on here. So I decided to put a couple support beams to hold up, just give a little strength to the middle of the roof. And then I kind of made some bottom braces there as well, because I'm going to cut some cardstock, and that's what's going to be really sitting on top of these trusses here. I'm just kind of showing you at different stages. So I got all that wooden trusses in there. And I've always kind of just kept putting it into that bottom level to make sure everything fits properly. And then I just kind of started cutting out this cardstock. That was a Lucky Charms box, and I think I used a Twinkie box. Just use your garbage, man. Cardstock is always readily available. So this is after I've done cutting it all out. Pretty happy with everything. Everything lines up nicely. Everything's measured out good. Now, of course, it's harder to get out. Eventually, I'm going to put a little trim on the top and put a little handle so it's easier to pull the roof in and out. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with that. So then I wanted to texturalize the bottom. So we're going to pull the paper off and use a tin foil ball and give it that stucco feel to the bottom. Mainly because that's going to be the ceiling, right? So of the next floor. So I just wanted to continue on with that design. And I'm just showing you, I'm going to cover everything with black. So this is one of those early stages. I kind of just wanted to put everything in black and seal it in at this point, and get it to this level here. And it's all painted, solid. It's actually a really solid piece right now. So great for now putting the shingles on. So I don't have a Proxxon cutter or anything like that. I just use a box cutter here. My X-Acto blade, and I just cut out very thin, that's a 1/2 inch, by the way, insulation foam that I'm cutting, and just cut strips, and then use this as a brush that I got from the Home Depot that I use to clean window sills. I usually use it to texturize foam, so you put that wood grain into the foam, and then we're going to cut. I actually ended up cutting those strips in half again, and then cut them into little smaller shingles. I decided I was going to individually glue the shingles on this time. I've never actually done it. I usually do it in strips and find some way of time saving it. But this time I didn't. And you can see I kind of notched the ends, kind of almost like an arrowhead, but not really, on each one of those bricks. Yeah, I did individually cut each one. It was a little time consuming. It took me about an hour to cut all the shingles out. Not that time consuming. But I was really happy with the way they looked. Now, just kind of showing you that I overhang the shingles a little bit on either ends. That way it overhangs when it sits on the building, and you can't really see the gap between the roof and the second level, essentially. So this is I just stop at different stages here just to kind of show you how I'm gluing this on. Kind of just do one section at a time and just kind of glue these little shingles on. You can see they're all different sizes, so they're not all uniformed. I didn't want it to be exactly straight, so some of them are a little off, some are over top of each other. It kind of works out perfect. And you can see I left a little bit of a gap at the top, because I plan on doing a balsa wood kind of frame on top of the roof. So one, it hides where the shingles connect, and second, it actually becomes functional as a handle, so you can pull the roof up and down. And that's really skinny balsa wood that I'm going to use to make that sign I was talking about. So that's the early stages. So this is after I've glued that on. And you can see it's got a nice little handle now on it. Easy to pull up and down off your top. Now I want to hide the ends off where the shingles are here. So I cut some thinner balsa wood here. And I'm just going to kind of made some wooden planks to cover. So, but make sure you don't cover where the black framing is, because that's exactly where the roof sits on there. So you don't want to cover that part. And this is an early stage of that sign. I just glued those pieces I showed you together with some white tacky glue. So this is pretty much fabricated. The roof is in good shape. I did add a small timber or a post to the front of the building, as you can see. That's what the sign is going to be holding onto, that little carpenter sign I was going to make. So overall, not too bad. I probably would have overhanged the back a little bit more, but I'm not sad. It's an old pirate building. I'm not. It was okay. I was pretty happy with the way that, and it fits really well onto the roof. So I did add a few more balsa wood sides to that sign. I decided I just wanted hanging on one chain, kind of the picture I saw of that one in for the Pirates of the Caribbean. It just looked like the sign was just ratty. It's just hanging on one chain. And so I decided to do that. So now I'm just showing you, I'm going to cover everything with some black craft paint. So everything's pretty well fabricated. Now it's going on to paint. First step is to paint everything black with that Folk Art Craft multi-surface paint there. I even did this little piece on here too. I know I probably, if I would have thought of it earlier, I should have done that when I was doing the second level, but that's all right. We're doing it in this episode. Making it a little more challenging to paint around the stuff I've already painted. But just kind of showing you that I've completed everything. So now I'm moving to my standard undertones. Real brown, we got bark brown, and we got orange Peblo. So essentially it's Peblo. It's not orange Peblo. It's a Peblo. And then I'm showing you the camel because we're going to highlight the shingles with that camel too. And kind of give it a little bit of an aged wood, similar to the bark ship that I built. So this is after I put the first three colors on. So the real brown, bark brown, and orange Pablos on there, but I haven't put the camel on there. I kind of just wanted to show you that. So I kind of stopped it here and figured I would show a little bit of how I apply it on there. So as you see, I just got a little brush, and I kind of go over it a few times, really, to be honest. You can see I can barely put any on there. I didn't put much paint on there. But I hit it, and then I went back and hit it again. So I just kind of kept going over the shingles with this camel color. And just kind of gives it a nice little timber feel to it, or older wood. I really like the colors that were coming out of this. Of course, we're going to add some more colors on top of this, but I just wanted to stop at this point because it's something a little different than the undertones that I usually do. So that's why I wanted to stop and show you that. So then we're going to add a little bit of that real brown, that's a yellow ochre, sorry, mixture together. So I mix them together first and then apply that on there. Same thing, little brush. And I'm going to add, strategically, just kind of place that in a few areas. I'm going to add some of that color to the entire roof. So I got kind of a yellowy camel color going now. So I like the multicolors on the roof. It looks, I really like that. So that's the way I was going to go with it. Kind of put all the colors on there. But very sparingly, as you can see. I'm not putting a whole lot on there. So I'm adding a lot of that yellow ochre mixture to the post as well. So the same as the dock bases, I would do the mixture of the real brown and the yellow ochre first. So it's kind of a darker yellow, and then I would move to just using the yellow ochre on its own. But really be careful not to put too much on your brush because you don't really want to slap a bunch of yellow ochre all over the place on there. So you can see it's got a bit of a yellow hue to it, but nothing too crazy. So now we're going to use a Necromancer Cloak. We're going to add some hardened leather speed paint, Agrax Earth Shader. We got some Skeleton Horde going on here, and we got some Commando Green. I'm going to put all these colors on the roof. So the gray, I just kind of hit it in a few different spots. I didn't go too crazy with that on this roof this time. And, of course, I'm going to add all those colors to the sign as well. So we're going to kind of age that sign. So I kind of sped ahead already to having the design already on the sign. I'm just showing you some of the colors I'm using. I'm using Mummy Robe, and there's that dynamic yellow, and we got... actually, I got some black there, and we got pure red, dragon red. So I actually put the dragon red down first, and then use that pure red over top to kind of highlight it. And I'm just kind of showing you, I just free-handed a heart on there. It had, in the picture of this symbol, it had a little bit of yellow in the background. and then essentially had nails running through the heart. So it's kind of hard to see at this angle that I've got it sitting at. But I got two different tones of yellow there. Actually, I used Basilic brown, which is kind of a yellow color too. That's another army painter paint, and that's what I'm just kind of doing, is adding a little bit of a darker yellow. And then, of course, you got to do the mirror image on the back side. Now, if you're not confident that you feel like you can freehand it on the back side, what you could do is just take a picture of the front side and just put it in, like flip it in your camera options in your camera, and then you can have the mirror image on the back, and you just kind of use that as a reference to paint the other side. I did a similar technique when I painted a bunch of canoes for commission work. I took a picture of it and then put it on the other side. So the other stuff I got going on here is I'm just adding a little bit of weathering to everything with that Ergax Earth Shader. So I decided to put a little bit of a magnet on that post that the sign's going to sit on, and I just cut a little bit of this craft chain that I got from, actually I got that from Walmart, that chain, in the craft section. And I just essentially just used hot glue. I didn't do anything fancy. Some people screw things into the wood and all sorts of crazy stuff. I just used some hot glue. Just glued that magnet on and then glued the chain, and it works just fine. That was adequate for my needs. And this is pretty much it. This is the finished product. So got all the roof done, all the floors are done. Got that sign completed on the front, and I'm really happy with this build. I think this is works out great, and definitely is going to make it easier to build the tavern when we get to it. I'm going to do something similar to this design for the tavern. All right, so let's get down to the battlefield. Check it out. So we got kind of a pirate island going on here, opposed to the pirate port I did in the last episode. But it's on this fantastic cigar box battle mat, the Caribbean island. I really recommend picking up one of those. It's perfect for these kind of projects, and I really love using this. Used it several times in the global campaign to play several Blood and Plunder matches on. But it's a great mat. You could use it for all sorts of games. But anyways, let's take a look at what we got going on here. This is got Captain Morgan there and his sea dogs, and we got everything completed. So let's just take a look around. I just wanted to show you what it looked like on top of the island, not just because we just looked at the whole piece, but I just wanted to see what it looked like on the entire pirate island. So we're just gonna pull up that roof to show you how easy that is with that little handle. Super easy to put on and off. I'm really happy how that roof turned out, and it's I think it's one of the better roofs I've built. Really fit nicely on this overall piece. So just getting around to the other side, and we're just going to get one more look at the front side of this of the coffins here and that sign we put together. That I modeled after, I guess it was more of a, well, it was a medieval 17th century kind of thing, a sign for it. All right, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one.